Now, growing up, I never had the opportunity to fly business. My parents always saw it as a massive waste of money, and rightly so, by the way, because on a standard flight between London and New York, a round trip on business class can cost upwards of 7,000 USD, whereas a standard fare can be as cheap as, I don't know, $400, $350. I saw one flight on JetBlue. Like, it's kind of nuts. And last week, I was fortunate enough to fly business class for the first time in my entire life with Roche-Posay, which I am super, super grateful for. However, the first time that we did business class, I was more kind of interested in having the experience and enjoying the experience, maybe not focusing too much on all the little details and just sort of living it. However, this time, because it's not really an opportunity I ever have, and I honestly don't know the next time I will fly business class, it may never ever happen again, to be honest. This time I thought I could do what is like a side-by-side comparison of what it is like to fly business versus standard, because the price differential is crazy. And you know, as someone who's always looked from the outside and gone, is it actually worth it? And today I thought I could delve into whether, well, is it actually worth it, you know? So yeah, because I leave everything to the literal last minute and we now only have 2 hours 40 until my flight, let's go.
New York, scarily expensive. I am going to seriously miss this city, holy moly. Right, so I think it's safe to say I massively underestimated the traffic going to JFK. Honestly, who knew it took 2 hours to go from New York to the airport? I mean, to be fair, I think some people have mentioned it. I just kind of ignored that and thought that maybe I should leave it until exactly the last minute. So we're going to be really testing this because honestly, the number one reason why most people fly business is because you can arrive at the airport so last minute. I mean, when we flew out here in the first place, they actually take you to this whole private, like, terminal in effect. And I got through security in less than 3 minutes. And I'm kind of hoping that it's going to be the same in JFK, although I've heard that JFK is awful, so not that hopeful. Anyways, two things that I just want to quickly note on that I didn't really clarify in the start is, firstly, I am more than aware that the amount of money that is spent on this is so out of the ordinary. I mean, when you consider that the price differential is effectively a month's work on minimum wage in the UK, it's scary. So as much as I want to clarify that this, you know, this is kind of scary in a whole nother world, I also want to say that I really hope that you guys sitting at home can aspire to this, because this is what I want to aspire to. I mean, at the moment, I can't afford it, and, you know, it's something that I'm working towards. If I didn't have Roche-Posay paid for this, I wouldn't be doing it, but it is something that I'm working towards, and it's something that I'm trying to build up to, because apparently business class is one of the two things that happens when you reach financial freedom. It means that you can fly business class and not think about it and eat whatever food you want, and that's kind of what I'm living up to and working towards, you know? But yeah, I'm going to be praying that the traffic eases up, and then yeah, hopefully we'll arrive at the airport with enough time, because currently we're going to arrive at the airport an hour and a half before my flight leaves, and I'm pretty sure they shut the door for the plane about 45 minutes before, so could be a little bit nip and tuck, you know? Right, so to be brutally honest, I did want to film that because the TSA absolutely scared the living daylights out of me. But in comparison to the experience that I had in London flying out here compared to that, night and day, night and day. In London, I reckon I got through security in maybe 20 seconds. Like, literally they had a private section where you just walk straight through, you put your bag on, there was already no one there because like hardly anyone uses it. Like in London, they had a private section where people purely flying on business class for that specific flight could use, and you walk straight through. I reckon I got through security in 20 seconds. I'd never been through faster in my entire life. And honestly, at the time I was like, wow, that is really something that I could see being worth it were you to be working in business, right? Because if you want to board the flight at the last minute and you're doing work or you've got a meeting, you could go straight through and you could be on the flight within half an hour. I mean, that's how quick it was. Just here, on the other hand, not quite the same experience. Like, the TSA are really, really strict. You know, they make everyone queue up. It is a much, much slower process. Obviously, we all know the history, so it kind of makes sense. But it was just not anywhere near the same experience. Everyone who had priority was allowed to use the same line, so it wasn't like specifically exclusive to business, it was just anyone that had bought priority. And then ironically, if you paid more for this like TSA special thing, you actually got through faster, which was also super random. So, you know, when you consider that you're paying for a business class flight, you've already paid all this money, you'd assume that it would be included. And then because they then didn't have that private security, which to be fair, the guy said that they're going to get in the next couple of months, like it was kind of pointless, that first lounge bit, because
like it was probably quicker if you just went through the normal one, although admittedly probably less queues and the service was great. Anyways, because I am technically so late to this, I mean, I have really messed this up on my part. We are going to head to the business lounge, but it is probably going to be for about 5 minutes. So I'm going to try and show you what would be on offer were I to be there for much longer. It is absolutely rammed here. Yeah, I feel like each lounge that is in each airport is different. The one in London was brilliant. This, on the other hand, not quite so good. I don't know if that's necessarily because it is absolutely rammed here. Like, everyone and their nan seems to be here. It's crazy. But I feel like when you pay more money, you kind of want that aura of exclusivity. I don't know if there is a restaurant here, and I don't know if I've explored it fully. Obviously there's showers, which is great. There also seems to be some meeting rooms, so if you're trying to accomplish some business last minute and you want to take a call, that's great. There's good Wi-Fi here, so I guess that's a technical upgrade. But to be honest, considering the price of the food, there isn't that much selection, and I think I'd rather spend like $30 or £30 and get a Shake Shack or something like that from the airport itself, you know? Like, okay, fine, yeah, you have to queue, but in my opinion, and to be honest, like, I'm not running a business at the moment, so maybe, you know, it doesn't necessarily really affect me. You know, I'm not sitting here trying to get work done or sat on a computer, but I feel like you can just get this done in the normal terminal, and it seems to be as busy as the normal terminal. I mean, to be fair, there's not that many people in this specific route. I mean, yeah, maybe I am being hypercritical, but I'm still trying to work from the perspective that this is someone's like month of work extra just for you to sit in this specific seat, and this doesn't feel that much different to flying normal, you know? Another thing I do want to also note, by the way, is obviously I'm sober. If you drink, this is heaven, right? I mean, it's a free bar. You can spend as much as you want. You can have whatever drink you want. You can have as much champagne as you like, right? From that perspective, maybe it is worth it. I also want to note, by the way, I don't feel like this is the normal experience. Everyone that I've ever spoken to says they hate JFK. So anyways, I feel like my flight has just started boarding, so let's go and do that.
Right, so I also wanted to show you guys the lounge from the flight on the way out so you can fully understand the context of why I was kind of quote unquote complaining. In the other lounge, it was quiet, with a fully stocked breakfast bar with literally any breakfast you could possibly ask for. Free unlimited bar, which would be ideal for those of you flying on holiday, and even a restaurant for those of you who kind of want a full sit-down meal. Alternatively, you were able to order whatever food and drinks you like straight to your seat, and the team of waiters would kindly bring it over to you, and the customer service was excellent. Anyways, back to the flight.
Yeah, that's terrifying. They just scanned my face and knew my name. They didn't even take my bloody boarding pass. Got bloody alcohol in it. Would like to announce, by the way, that is not the end of my sobriety. I will be continuing not to drink. Right, well, round two.
Tastes better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Cheers. So hello, welcome to my room. Anyways, now that we've taken off and the seatbelt sign is off, let me give you a guide of what it is that you actually get, or what it is that you're actually paying for. Because, you know, the lounge is one thing, the security pass is another thing, but what you're actually paying for is this. Anyways, the first thing I'm going to know, and obviously, well, everyone at some point will have seen a business class cabin, so this isn't exactly unique, is that you get your own space. Like, you're not sat next to anyone. There is no one near me, no one on this side. There's obviously no one on that side. One thing I will note, by the way, is on this flight in particular, there's actually no door.
on the last flight that I took, you got like this entire space to yourself, and it felt very much like, you know, your own little private room on the aeroplane. Having said that, door, no door, it's still your own space, right? After that, you then have your seat. Now, alongside your seat, you obviously get all of these extra controls, which means that slowly your seat can very much sort of recline all the way down until, well, you're lying flat, really, which is absolutely nuts, and one of the things that I just couldn't believe when I first got on one of these business class flights. Compared to that sort of cramped aeroplane seat experience, this is exactly what you're paying for. You're lying flat, you're basically in a bed, right? On top of that, obviously you get a much bigger screen than you get on sort of standard flights. I mean, obviously, you know, on standard flights you just got to get a screen that's like slightly in front of you and it's basically the size of a phone, but you know, entertainment's entertainment, and if you want to watch a film, I don't think it really matters how big the screen is. You know, at the end of the day, you're not trying to watch football with your mates. As long as you can see what's going on, that's all good, right? Now, on this side, it's very much just very basic. It's a table, and it's a really nice space. If you were working and, you know, you had a computer or you had multiple computers even, it's brilliant. It would be so useful. And although I can't actually pull out the table that you eat off, there is also a table that sort of goes over your lap. But I'll wait until the air attendant gets here because I don't actually know how that works. Now, in terms of the things that they actually provide on top of that, and this is when it starts to get really crazy and it starts to really level up, they provide you with an entire set of bedding. You get a pillow, you get a blanket, you also get like a literal mattress topper, which is kind of nuts. And it's also kind of nice because I feel like it does start to give you that sort of bed hotel experience. You know, you're literally in a hotel in the sky at this point. And when I start getting ready for bed, I will get that out. We're going to leave that for the moment. On this flight in particular, they also provide us with some slippers. I'm assuming that's because it's a night flight. They also provide you with a bottle of water, which is great because I get super dehydrated on every single flight. And it's one of the things that every time I get off a flight, I always feel like I've shrunk, you know? Like I just feel like I've been gone. So that's really good. You get some headphones. These are proper, you know, these are the serious bad boys. These are, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say they're like bloody Sony. I mean, but they're definitely better than the tiny little dangly things that you stick in your ear and then you can't hear any of the actual movie that you're watching because it's too loud with the bloody air cabin like right now. You also get a little wash bag, and this particular one is apparently made in Mexico. And in this you get an eye mask, which is super useful because, let's be honest, aeroplane flights are never dark enough to actually sleep on. Pen, in case you're making any significant business decisions on the airplane and you don't have access to a phone. And then finally, a toothbrush and a toothpaste, which again, super useful. And then last but not least, some earplugs, because, well, as you can kind of tell, it's bloody noisy on here. Now, the last thing you get when you arrive, and this is something that they actually hand out to you, is a menu. Now, on this, you get a 3-course meal, which you get to choose each individual one. They've actually already come and taken my main course choice, which was buffalo mozzarella ravioli. Honestly, the food on here is really good. I don't actually know if this is different to the food that you get in standard. I would assume it's better, I mean, especially because it's like a 3-course meal and you get all of these different options. But I think the thing that really makes it stand out is obviously that there's also comes with a wine list and a champagne list. Again, I don't drink, so I can't take advantage of this, but if you do drink, I can imagine this just being a crazy differential because, you know, at the back of the flight, they're not exactly handing out aged wine and beer and every single beverage and spirit that you can want. Something I do want to note, by the way, is that if you ever do come on this, please take advantage of it. They literally have to give you all the drinks that you want, and as long as you're polite, they'll also give you seconds or even thirds on the main courses themselves. I actually had about 3 different portions of breakfast on the last flight because it was a morning flight rather than an evening one. And on the note of alcohol, by the way, that right there is the alcohol part. Anyways, time for some food. I know I'm in danger of sounding ungrateful here, but that food was pretty mediocre, gonna be really honest. The food on the way out was a lot better, like a lot better. I think on the way out we flew with Virgin, like, and we had 3 separate courses, like literally 3 separate courses. It was like starter, main, dessert, whereas they kind of just served it all on one plate all together, and like I feel like I had standard class food exactly the same, you know, like it was nothing particularly special about that or particularly unique. And to be honest, it wasn't bad. Like, you know, the ravioli was pretty good, it was pretty solid. I think we had a nice little creamy touch, but I feel like I also want to be honest for you guys. Anyways, we've got 5 hours left on the flight. Let's try and get some sleep. I'm lying about the mattress topper because this particular flight doesn't come with one, rather sadly. I'll get over it though. I honestly still find it absolutely bonkers that you could lie flat on a bloody aeroplane. Like, do you know how nuts that is? It blew my mind the first time, it still blows my mind now. Anyways, let's see if the bed actually functions as it should do, because like it's only one thing having something that lies flat, it's another thing as to whether you can actually sleep on it. I mean, admittedly I did actually sleep on the way out, but it was rather intermittently, I'm going to be real. So I'm interested to see that if now that it's night, if I can actually sleep all the way through. If that is something that this can offer me, then in reality it's worth every penny. Because, well, I'm going to be honest, you spend 1/3 of your life sleeping and it's pretty important. It is pretty important. Anyways, I'm going to get my beauty sleep. See you in the morning. Right, so honestly, I am shocked. Like, I am actually shocked that I slept. I wasn't expecting it. I really, really wasn't expecting it. Technically, it's only 1:30 in New York, and by definition, I've slept 4 hours, which is kind of quite impressive. Look, I know I might sound like a spoiled kid, because this is, like, really overcritical, and this is only because it was so good on the other flight, but it kind of felt like I was sleeping on a bench. You know, these seats aren't the softest thing ever, and I feel like after experiencing the last one and having, you know, on the last flight and it being so good, I feel like you become acclimatized to it, so that is definitely one of my critiques, but it was still good. It's still good. It was still flat. However, one thing that I do really want to point out, because apparently I am now a bedding expert, critique, pillow was unreal. That pillow was a thing of beauty. That honestly changed the game. I don't think even my pillows at home are that good, so that is definitely one massive pro. Anyways, breakfast was very kindly served to me about 3 seconds ago, so I'm going to have that because I'm kind of hungry. Honestly, I was expected to really critique that breakfast because apparently I'm like Rainbow Blanc or something now, but that breakfast was bloody good. Like, really, really good. Probably some of the best airplane food I've ever had. I mean, it wasn't a 3-course meal that we got served at the last flight, but it doesn't really matter because that was honestly quite incredible, to be quite frank. Anyways, we are now 20 minutes from landing and we are about to start a descent, so I shall see you on the other side. Well, it's safe to say that I haven't missed the weather because it's bloody freezing.
So I've made it home. Please ignore the fact that I'm currently standing in a dressing gown. So I think upon reflection, I think the first thing that I want to say is that if money is no object, it is so worth it. It is so worth it. It is so good. It really is. I know I complained a lot and, you know, maybe it wasn't quite as good as the first flight that I stepped on, blah, blah, blah. It's good. It's incredible. I mean, you know, the ability, the opportunity to lie flat on an aeroplane is crazy. I am a true believer that time is worth money. And to be honest, for that extra little bit of cash, if you feel like it could further your business or further you, is an absolute essential, right? And as someone who very rarely sleeps on the flight, I actually don't feel that bad. I slept 5 hours. You know, I actually feel okay. You know, it's kind of telling in that sense. Another thing that I note, by the way, is that as a nervous flyer, I find flying quite difficult quite often. I don't really look forward to it. I often am, you know, quite stressed going into it, to be quite frank. I was very calm the whole flight because the environment that you're in is much more relaxing and you have slightly more luxury. Maybe you're not so focused on the environment and what it is that you're doing. So, you know, I was very relaxed and very peaceful. From that perspective, if you're a nervous flyer, again, highly recommend. However, I also want to put my money it doesn't grow on trees cap here and sort of reflect on the fact that, well, as good as all of that is, if money isn't unlimited for you as a person, which to be honest, it is unlimited for very, very few people, the reality is that it's probably not worth it. In the end of the day, it's a luxury. You don't need it. It's a 6-hour flight. I mean, I'm sure on a much longer flight, or if you're a bit older and you struggle getting in and out of your seat, or maybe, you suffer from medical problems, it could be brilliant. But for the standard person, I think it is something simply to aspire to and something that you might experience on a business trip, really. And we're actually discussing Delta's business class service in comparison to Virgin, who we flew out with on the way there. And look, I've only ever had 2 experiences, so I don't know what the full scope of it is. I'm sure there are possibly flights even worse than that. There might be ones even better. But for the money that you're paying, I thought the general service was a bit disappointing. So I think my summary is, if you've got the money, it's worth it. If you don't have the money, it's definitely not worth it. And if you are going to do it, don't fly Delta. That's it in a nutshell. Once again, by the way, a massive thank you to Roche-Posay, because that was the honest trip of a lifetime. And I am super, super grateful for this. In terms of whether you actually want to go out and do business class yourself, I think it's something you should aspire to. And it's something that I aspire to. And it is something that I will work towards. And one day I'll get there. It's not out of reach. And if you're sitting there at home and thinking that it is out of your reach, it's definitely not. It's more than achievable to be having the ability to fly business class every single flight. You just got to work for it. But yeah, as always, please make sure you like, subscribe, check out my other videos, and yeah, have a lovely day.